it was very disappointing that in this time when I could have, show my talents to the world, I couldn't.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Finding a Way, the podcast for positive change. I'm your host, Jim, and today we have a very special episode. We're out here at Hiiiwav on 28th and Telegraph, and I'm with my main man, Bosko Kante. Bosko, thank you for being here with us.
Man, good to be here, Jim.
How you doing today?
I'm great. Yeah, feeling good.
What's the average day? I know there is no average day for an entrepreneur, but what's on your mind today?
Wow. Man, what is on my mind? And honestly, on my mind today is the chilling effect of the war on DEI.
Talk about that.
Obviously I lead a black organization. In terms of when I say black, it's black culture. It supports black people. And when in the news, diversity efforts are blamed for ridiculous, like the plane crash was caused by DEI when there's no connection. There's no black pilots, no black.
We wasn't even there.
Yeah, we had no connection to that, but we're blamed. It's just like, a strategy of just blaming everything that's a problem in society on DEI. That has a chilling effect.
100%, and I want to get there. This is on me.
Yeah.
I gave you the coldest introduction. It's because this is my friend.
Yeah.
And I don't like to gas you because we gonna be here all day.
Yeah.
If I talk about this man's resume, we just do not have the time. This is a 45-hour-long segment. We'll be here all day.
Yeah, man.
I'm in the presence of greatness right now. I just want to make sure I know a little bit about this man. Bosko,
Absolutely.
Before we go in, just give him a tip of the iceberg. Who I'm talking to right now.
All right. So Bosko Kante, music producer, engineer, philanthropist, inventor. Tip of the tip. Yeah. Born in Ghana, grew up in Portland, Oregon, went to USC, played basketball, D1, also had a full ride academic scholarship, studied mechanical engineering. While I was in school, I was also producing music, and I got my break in the music industry when I produced the theme song to In Living Color. Then from there on, I said, oh man, I can be a music producer, a professional music producer. Before, I didn't think of it as an option, as a professional career. It was just something that I had a passion for. Mm-hmm. But that was the moment I said, okay, I can do this. So graduated with honors, started working professionally, worked with E-40, Too Short, Spice One, Junior Mafia, Tupac and the Outlaws, Tyrese. Started playing this instrument called the TalkBox, which, if you're not familiar, Peter Frampton popularized it. Stevie Wonder was one of the first to play it that I was aware of. And then, of course, Roger Troutman, More Bounce to the Ounce, Computer Love, you stick a tube in your mouth. Yeah. I became one of the top players of the TalkBox, and I played it on records with Kanye West, Tupac and the Outlaws, Dua Lipa, Shutterbug with Big Boy from Outkast, and many more. And then moved to the Bay after I got married, and went through this incubator called Zoo Labs, and came up with a way to reinvent the TalkBox, use my mechanical engineering and my music, and created this new instrument, which I'm actually wearing around my neck.
You got a little something for the folks. Just you don't gotta go crazy, but it never doesn't. So.
Yeah, so this is the ElectroSpit TalkBox that I invented with my co-founder, Maya Kante, and we have a patent on it. The sound comes out of your phone into the ElectroSpit, through your neck, out of your mouth, and it sounds like this. So that's the ElectroSpit TalkBox. That's what it sounds like. You hear me playing on records with E-40 on Dua Lipa's Levitating, number 11 song of all time.
Can you do the thing?
What thing?
You know the thing I'm finna ask you to do. So because my generation don't know all the talk box and like all the folks you talking about.
Yeah.
You did one of the biggest songs
Yeah.
for my generation because it got sampled.
Right.
But just give us a little taste.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
Can you
about.
get
Let me see. Work out for me.
So next time you up in the gym and you groove to some J. Cole or Kanye's workout
Yeah.
plan, make sure you shout out my man Bosko Kante.
That's me on there.
And once again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to make sure people had some context to what you were about to say about
Absolutely.
the DEI.
Absolutely.
So you gave us a little bit of background. We're going to rewind a couple more times to get some detail.
Yeah.
But let's talk about where you were going with that because you hit it right on the head. It's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. So, but after building the ElectroSpit TalkBox, I founded an incubator called Hiiiwav, and it is an incubator for Black creatives to help them build startups, like how I built this startup to build this instrument. There's an opportunity for creators who have all kinds of ideas. They have technical expertise to build their own companies, and we support that. We're sitting in the building that we bought to support that community, to provide those opportunities. And the funding for that comes from donations. It's a nonprofit.
Right.
And some of the funding comes from the government, some of the funding comes from corporations, some comes from individuals. And the fact that there is this war on DEI, it trickles down. It has, like I said, a chilling effect on all of the funding. So all of the government funding it's either on hold or it's canceled. The corporations, they don't have any pressure socially to fund Black organizations, and they have the opposite. They have a negative pressure. If they fund, they may be sued, they may be ostracized, criticized. Individuals, there's so many incredible people that support our organization, but there's this subtle pressure from society not to support our organization or other Black organizations. Right. A subtle pressure, maybe that check that they were going to write that was one size, maybe it's going to be a little bit smaller because there's just a little bit less energy and motivation. Maybe, it's delayed because they're looking at the legal issues. Mm-hmm. And at the bottom, the law does not prevent anyone from supporting an organization that supports Black people, just like there's all kinds of other cultural organizations. But that gray area, the movement in the media is just, all of it is just a negative downward pressure on the support for our people. And then our people are questioning, is there support for them? Maybe in the past where they had an idea to start a business, an idea to start an organization, or that they might put that on hold and say, maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe I can't get the support. So all of that kind of comes together to slow down the progress of Black people in this country, and it's really sad. It's scary, and it's on my mind. How do I speak out? What are the buttons that I can push? How can I organize folks? Because I don't think reactively, I think proactively. That so part. What are the steps that we can take to change this environment?
Well, that's what all we about here at Finding a Way. So hopefully we find our way to some sort of solution today. Yeah. But at least, starting that conversation and that dialogue, putting it on people's mind, because it is kind of messed up. And I feel like what bugs me about it is I feel like Black people are kind of like the poster child for DEI in the sense where it's like, and
we're not even the beneficiaries.
It's like
we got a small, like, if you look at who benefited from DEI, which there's a lot of people that should deserve to benefit, but Black people, they're are at the bottom of that list in terms of how much was actually distributed to Black people.
Right. And the thing I want to make sure, first of all, everybody knows that DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So there is no particular emphasis by definition on any ethnic group. But like I said, Black people kind of get the poster child rep. And like you were saying, like we think about, universities and admissions and stuff like that, a lot of DEI and affirmative action programs were kind of being, attacked early on. That was one of the first things we started to see being attacked. And, a lot of people that benefit from that are, if you go walk around that Cal Berkeley campus, you tell me who they are. But it's not us to say that. But yeah, it's just kind of a bummer that, I feel like we get the brunt of it when it comes to the press, when it comes to, the cutting of funding.
Right.
But, like you said, on the flip side, we aren't necessarily the largest beneficiary at all.
It's really just a smokescreen for the plundering of the United States economy by the folks that are in power, and just like
those five guys.
Yeah, they're just taking advantage of the system. They don't have to pay for all of the services that they consume and the roads that they use and all of the natural resources. They don't have to pay for that. They don't have to pay taxes.
They don't call that, they don't call that any acronym or anything like that. When black folks getting help, we call it DEI. When billionaires getting help, we call it a subsidy.
A subsidy, yeah. So, and it's it's short-sighted. It's short-sighted because the way the economy works is where people benefit. They grow companies, they grow businesses, they consume products, and then the money is recycled.
Right.
And what part of the problem that is happening right now is that money gets stopped. It instead of getting to people who are going to buy products and build new businesses, it just gets siloed in bank accounts and overseas accounts, and it doesn't activate the economy.
Right, man. So we're gonna leave that where it is because I'm about to get mad.
So then the flip side is, that was what was on my mind this morning, because I'm writing a letter that goes along with our impact report to talk about what Hiiiwav has done in the past couple of years. I'll just rewind and talk about some of that. It has been an incredible journey in going from, in 2020, when George Floyd was murdered and the pandemic was happening, and creatives and musicians in particular couldn't gig. There's no shows. They couldn't do a lot of their part-time work that they have. So and they didn't have the infrastructure. Like, it's not like they were collecting unemployment.
Right.
The musicians don't have any kind of a support system for those kinds of situations. So musicians were in a bad place.
The artists were literally starving.
Yes. Yeah. The artists were literally starving. And at that moment, I saw that I had the opportunity to create an organization that could support artists to find other paths besides gigs and besides streaming. And that was the birth of Hiiiwav, which was originally called the Black Music Entrepreneurship Incubator.
Hiiiwav is better.
Yeah, Hiiiwav, Black Music Entrepreneurship Incubator is what it is, right? But it doesn't fit on the T-shirt.
Not quite.
Not like this.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
It doesn't roll off the tongue quite the same. So we created that nonprofit. We raised about $3 million over the course of 3 years, and purchased a building, which is this building. It serves as a place where our artist community can film podcasts, record music, have panels, workshops, live performances. We have the Hiiiwav Fest every year, which celebrates the contributions of Black creatives and technologists to music and creative tools and technology. We had it this past year with Farside was the headliner. Yeah. We had a conversation between myself and Just Blaze where we talked about our background in tech and how that combined with the music that we both did. And that was a lot of fun. And then Meta showed up and demoed their Meta Quest 3 headsets and their Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
Those are kind of tough. I like those.
Real tough. We had workshops to show folks, introduce folks who had never used artificial intelligence technology before, how to create images, how to create music. So just introducing the community to new tools, new technology. And that's That's what I'm talking about in our impact report. Those programs, as well as I don't know how forgot about this, Afro AI, which is our flagship program, which we're taking artists who people don't always think of artists as entrepreneurs, as having technical skills, but especially music producers. But many artists, they use all kinds of software in making music, whether it's music production, video production. They're very skilled at marketing, branding. They have all of the skills to start a technology company, but they may not realize the path. They may not have the relationships to get the funding. They don't know the language. How do you pitch your idea? So we teach them how to create pitch decks, how to understand their market size, how to understand their customers, and then how to build products using technology. Which another thing is people think that you have to build technology from scratch, and they look at companies, even like Google. Google is building a lot of stuff from scratch in their research department,
right?
But even their research department and all of their departments are sharing information. They get information. They get ideas from open source software, from universities, and they're taking that freely available information and turning it into products. Right. And we can do the same thing. We don't have to build from scratch. You build from what's available, and you add something. It could be just branding or packaging. It could be an audience that you have that isn't aware of these tools. It's combining, like when I think about the ElectroSpit TalkBox, part of what made it possible is there's 3D printing technology made it easier to build the drivers. There's miniaturized speakers that are used in mobile phones and mobile technology, small amps that are used in mobile electronics, on-demand circuit board printing. All of these things made it possible to make this for, 20 years ago, it might have taken $1 million to make something like this.
You would have been soldering and all this type of stuff, your own stuff.
That's right. Yeah. And so that technology meant that I could basically take off the shelf pieces, put them together in a new way, add a layer of new technology, a layer of software on top, and have a product that can sell around the world. And other artists are capable of doing that, and we teach them how to do that in the Afro AI program.
I love that, man. I want you to tell the story of how and why you did build the ElectroSpit, because I think it's just such a fun story.
Yeah. So the TalkBox is this instrument that I grew up breakdancing to, like, more bounce to the ounce. I remember riding.
I always laugh because I'm like, I never know how old you are for real. Because I look at you, I'm like,
I'm older than I look.
He was breakdancing.
I was breakdancing way back in the day, and I used to ride in my next door neighbor's Impala to high school, and listen to more bounce to the ounce, and go, do pop locking at the roller skate rink and all of that. And I just grew up loving that sound. When I got a record deal in 1994.
I was born.
Yeah, way back with Atlantic Records. The first thing that I bought was a TalkBox. So I was like, man, I gotta get a TalkBox. My guy Battle Cat, incredible producer, showed me how to use it. He was in the studio with the Dog Pound, and I went over there with my TalkBox and was like, man, how does this work? I couldn't figure it out. He's like, oh man, this is how you do it. And I just took it and ran with it. Did records with E-40 and Kanye. But when I went on the American Music Awards with Kanye West, he wanted me to play the TalkBox live. But the routine was motion. It was for Kanye's workout plan. I had to move around, so I couldn't play live. I had to lip sync. So it was very disappointing that in this time when I could have, show my talents to the world, I couldn't.
Right.
And that moment made me think, how can I fix this problem of making the TalkBox portable? So I went through this incubator called Zoo Labs again, and we started digging into, what would the future look like for an instrument like this, and we started to think, well, not only can you make it portable, but the music studio has gone from the big recording studio to the desktop computer to the laptop computer. And then we saw it at that time going to where people were making music on their phones. So we said, well, why don't we make the TalkBox work with your cell phone? And at first I was like, nah, it's not going to work. And one of my mentors, David Watson, he like encouraged me to like tear apart some, Bluetooth speakers and dig into, what kind of technology was possible. And we started playing around with these different types of speakers and really small speakers, and realized that there was a way to make it work in a small form factor and with the software on a mobile phone. Started building it. Showed it to Teddy Riley. He loved it, and we got like a lot of a viral video. And then we decided to do a Kickstarter. Just Blaze saw it, reshared it, got like 40,000 views on it. David Guetta also shared it and went viral. We funded our Kickstarter in 48 hours. Damn. And kind of we're off to the races now. The process of building was a very difficult process. Like, we thought we were going to be able to just go over to China and
throw it together.
Yeah, just make it happen. And we got over there, and they said, oh, well, you need to do some more design. And it's going to take this much time. And so I had to go back to the United States, talk to, my partners that I was working with, one of the designers. And the main thing we had to redesign was we had to make it change sizes for different necks. And that took a long time. And then as we were getting ready to release it, the manufacturers that we were working with kept pushing back our date. This is 2019. Into 2019. First they were like, oh, September. Oh, it's going to be November. Oh, it's not going to be ready till January. Meanwhile, all of our Kickstarter backers are like, what's going on? They're like hitting me up like, is this a scam?
Yeah. Or like,
I put my money down. I need to get my product, and we're sweating. And I'm like, fuck it. We just going to do it in Oakland. We going to, I always wanted to manufacture it here in Oakland with my people. So I said, let's just do that. And shout out to Zoo Labs. They opened up their space and allowed us to manufacture there. And we shipped out the first units in like February of 2020.
Man.
And won an award, the Guthman Musical Instrument Competition in 2020, which it's like the Grammys for musical instruments.
Yeah.
So we won first prize and the People's Choice Award.
So that's your other Grammy, huh?
Other Grammy. And then the same weekend that we won the award, the 14th or the 12th or something, everything shut down.
Right.
And that was just like, I went back home just depressed. Our sales were, had stopped, and I was like, man, what's going to happen with this? And shout out to Runway. Runway is an organization that provides friends and family funding to entrepreneurs, primarily Black and brown entrepreneurs, and women-funded or women-led organizations. And they funded our organization as well as provided mentorship, community. And in those community meetings, our sales had stopped, but some of the other people, their sales were flat or even going up in the pandemic. And having that in community and support was like really instrumental for me to have the energy to move forward and say, wait, I just need to change how I'm marketing. I started doing Instagram lives, bringing on like the homies from Battle Cat to Fingers to Mr. TalkBox, playing the product live on the show, and our sales started to pick up, and we ended up having our best year ever in 2020.
Wow.
So that's kind of the story of ElectroSpit.
Right
oh,
on.
and Stevie Wonder.
I was going to say, give your biggest flex real quick.
Yeah. So the Stevie Wonder story was crazy. So we were this was before we had released it to the public, and we were still fundraising to try to finish the manufacturing. And I did an Instagram on a Friday, and I played "Why Do Birds Suddenly Appear" that on the TalkBox, because Stevie had played it on the TalkBox. So I did like a virtual duet. I just grabbed some of his video and spliced it in with mine. It's like, man, wouldn't it be dope to work with him? And I just posted it. The same day, this cat hits me, like Mike Phillips. He's like, man, this is crazy. I want to try it. Can I get one? Can I buy it? Like, oh no, I only got one. Yeah. This is a prototype. There's no sending it. But I'm like, I would love to show it to you. You know, are you going to be in Oakland? And he wasn't from Oakland. He's from Philly. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to be in Oakland for a while, man. But I'm going to be in San Francisco next week. And then, you know, maybe I could come to Oakland after. I'm like, well, that's
that bridge.
right. Yeah. That's cool. We could just get together in San Francisco. He's like, oh, cool, man. I'm going to be playing with Stevie Wonder. Would you want him to try it out too?
What kind of question is that?
I was like, come on, man. Are you serious?
Are you for
Stevie
real?
Wonder? Come on.
That's insane.
Heck yeah.
Wow.
So that's Friday. On Monday, I'm at the Four Seasons Hotel with Stevie Wonder, showing him the ElectroSpit TalkBox. You look on my Instagram, you'll see a picture of me with the biggest smile I ever had in my life, standing next to Stevie Wonder with him playing on the TalkBox, and it was just a dream come true, man.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
man. That's a legend among legends.
My favorite artist of all time. You know,
he's actually the GOAT.
Yeah,
like if you really go he can go. You know, he was doing the verses in the pandemic.
Yeah,
he could go verses with like Mike. Like he could go with anybody.
Yeah, with anybody. Yeah,
man,
with anybody. He got records. He wrote records for Mike. So
yeah.
Anyway, so that was really, if I didn't even sell any of these,
right, like
that would have been a crowning achievement that's one of the crowning achievements of my career for sure, is that I was able to build this instrument that my favorite artist of all time thought was amazing and used in the 50th anniversary theme song of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Like, and to meet him, I spent like 2 separate times with him. I spent like full days with him.
Yeah.
He's an incredible artist, and that was just.
You know, I gotta ask you, Bosko.
Yeah.
In your personal opinion.
Yeah.
Can he see?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
I know at least one moment you was in there like, hey, Steve, you just press this right here. And he was like, oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah. No, he honestly, I actually tried to get him to use the app, because I've been playing the app so long, I can play it without looking at it. Mm-hmm. Not like really, really play it, but you know, I can mess around.
Yeah.
And I thought he might be interested, but he really wasn't trying to mess with it. So I suspect that he's not, his vision isn't as good as people think.
Right. I seen Steve taking pictures on Instagram.
but we were joking in the studio. People were teasing him about could he see and all that kind of stuff. And
he was a good sport about it.
Oh, he was a good sport. He was telling jokes and, you know, clowning people. He was clowning people on the ElectroSpit, like talking. No, he was cool, man. Steve was hella cool.
That was dope. Now y'all starting to see why I couldn't introduce this man. Like the Grammy was a side quest. Like this dude be doing stuff you don't think about.
Yeah.
Nah, that's amazing.
I do
want to.
Fortunate.
Yeah, very blessed, but you know, deserving, because you a dog, man. These people
you.
need to know how we got here. So you did a little kind of glaze over intro just to make sure we knew who we was talking to.
Yeah.
I want to try and do a little bit of a deep dive. Take us back to young Bosko in Ghana. How long were you in Ghana? And
I was born in Ghana, but I came over like as a baby.
Okay,
so
for sure.
I didn't. My dad and mom met in Ghana, but my mom was from Portland. After they got married, then came back to Portland for a while. Then they went back to Ghana and had me. Then came back to Portland.
I see.
Right after I was like 1.
Yeah.
And grew up in Portland.
Tell us about that. Like, what was young Bosko up to?
Man, I was into sports. I was into math and science. I was fortunate to grow up in like a musical and a mathematical family. Like my mom was a civil engineer and a math professor. My grandmother was a math professor at Portland State. So we used to play math games. Like she taught elementary school teachers how to teach math.
Yeah.
So she had a whole room full of math games that she
Yeah.
would, give to teachers. She would volunteer at some of the local middle schools
That's
and
cool.
teach kids how to learn math, and she would also teach teachers how to teach math.
Did you have a favorite math game? Because this is all starting to make sense in my head now.
Man, I don't remember honestly any of the specific games, but I do remember we had all of these cool dice like dodecahedron dice, and dice that are shaped like a pyramid, and so some of the games required using those different kinds of dice, and I just had math was something that was fun.
Right.
It was something that wasn't like we weren't afraid of it.
I hated math until like college, so I'm jealous.
Yeah, and I think that is so important. Like if kids think that math is this terrible thing, then they don't want to learn it. They don't want to, like, if it gets hard, they don't want to figure it out. But if it's a puzzle, if it's something that it's competitive, like math is not as hard as basketball.
One would argue.
Not until you get to like the really high level.
Right.
Like if maybe advanced, third year calculus is as hard as lower level basketball, but in terms of the time required to learn basic math, it doesn't come close to the time required to learn sports.
That's an interesting perspective shift.
And the incentives are probably better for math. So I had that going for me, and we also music. I was surrounded by music. My mom played French horn. My grandmother played trumpet. One of my aunts was a professional violinist. Another aunt played trumpet. Other played guitar and sang. So I was like surrounded.
I was at the Jacksons.
Right. At Christmas, we played live music. Like we played Christmas carols, read the music, and going through the book. Okay, let's play Jingle Bells. Now we're gonna play Silent Night. Now we're gonna,
What's the first thing you picked up?
Piano.
Piano?
My mom started teaching me piano when I was like 7, and I played a little bit, and then she started teaching me trumpet, maybe almost around the same time, like 8. And I really played a lot of trumpet. Was like first chair in my stage band.
He doesn't ever just do anything. Like first chair, come on.
I mean, I wasn't the best player in my any of my bands in school. There's always somebody that was like gifted. Like I think of myself, I'm like a solid musician. Like I can get the job done. I can play.
Y'all heard how you started the episode? Go on.
But there's dudes that they could just go on and improvise, and I was always in awe of those players. And I was like trying hard. I was the try hard dude that was trying to catch up with them.
It's like a Kobe watching a Jordan. Would you say?
Maybe.
Like you feel like they got it like maybe a little bit more organically, but you're very talented and skilled in your own right.
Yeah, I had the work ethic going for me, determination. That was my gift, I think, was the determination. And also I have a way of like understanding things on a deeper level and breaking them down and figuring out how to do things. And I have a lot of confidence that things that I don't know how to do, I can figure out over time. So I think that's like an important thing that has continues to help me. Anytime I face a new challenge, I'm like, okay, well, let me do some research. I have a humbleness around like not knowing, and a willingness to ask questions that can get me, and a willingness to work to figure something out. I don't feel like, oh, this should come easy. I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be hard to learn this. I'm going to have to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to have to do a lot of research. But at the end of the day, I can figure it out.
Yeah. I think that's that engineering kind of mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. You talked a little bit about your ability to kind of, learn by making associations or,
Yeah.
identifying patterns and stuff like that. Was there any, I guess, observation that you were able to make around overlaps between music and mathematics? I know there is some, some fun little, I guess, facts there.
It's interesting. I think that music is very mathematical in terms of regular. There's formulas, and there's the theory side, but at the same time, for me, there was kind of a break that happened. Like I learned how to play stage band, jazz, classical on the trumpet. But then I started playing hip hop and making beats when I was in. I won a set of turntables in a breakdancing contest,
as one does.
and then I started DJing. And then as I was while I was DJing, I made some money from that. And this is middle school, mind you.
This is middle school.
Middle school. I bought a drum machine. First, I rented a drum machine. I rented this. I think it was a 707 drum machine.
I don't think I rented anything in middle school, but go on.
I mean,
What's the difference between a 707 and an 808?
I'm not sure which one came out first. You would think the 808 came out second, but I'm not sure if that's true. But the 707 had samples.
Okay.
And the 808 had a synthesizer. So it was like it synthesized the sound so you could change how they sound by turning the dials, and it was way more expensive. So I couldn't get one of those.
So I'm working with this over here.
I had to work with the 707, and the 707 wasn't really fresh. It wasn't. The sound sucked. I really didn't like the 707, but it was a drum machine, and I got started. Then I bought a 505 drum machine, which was way even worse than the 707, but it was mine, and I could make little beats. And then I got an Atari computer, and I started sequencing with that and some Dr. T software. So at an early age, I was making beats, making music, and I was, an okay keyboard player, okay guitarist, I wasn't like virtuoso at any instrument, but I figured out how to do it using technology to kind of enhance my creativity. And that has been a pattern for me over the years of using the tools available to create, to enhance my creativity as an aid. Over the years, I've become a much better keyboardist. As you can hear, I can get down now.
He gets down.
I can get down, especially on my own instrument. I can go toe to toe with cats that are like, I feel like this incredible musicians, and I can hold my own on my instrument. But that took time. And but using the technology, that was my gift. I was like early on using Pro Tools. I did E-40's Element of Surprise. We used Pro Tools, and it was the first gold hip hop album done on Pro Tools.
Wow.
I was really, really early. The guy this guy named Sam Ward, who was a producer, he was working with Cher. He was kind of instrumental in her using that Melodyne and that whole, like one of the first kind of the auto-tune sounds. So I was introduced to that whole world really early. And he used to have all of these Audio Media 3 cards, which is the precursor to Pro Tools. And I bought a Pro Tools system from him way back when I was still in college, like in the 90s. Like when it had first came out. So I was just like amazed, like, oh, you mean I can move stuff around on the computer and, fly hooks and change arrangements? Like, oh, I want to try that. So I've always been an early adopter of technology, especially music technology.
That's interesting because I feel like, some artists are kind of hesitant or even like repellent when it comes to, introducing technology into art.
And I think those are the guys who are more talented than me.
Those are the purists.
The purists, they're like, oh, I'm just going to do it. And I'm like, I can't. Let me get some technology.
Let me put this AI on it, man. Let me do that.
Exactly.
But you feel like, but to your point, you've always kind of been living at that intersection. Do you feel like there was something that jumped out to you other than maybe just, wanting to kind of add a little razzle dazzle when you felt like you were maybe not quite there talent wise, or?
Yeah. I mean, I always just loved science and technology anyway, even outside of music. Like I grew up, you know, looking at books about the planets and how big is Jupiter and how many moons does it have, and just all kinds of science stuff. So and loving like Star Trek and Star Wars and
shout out to the Trekkies.
Yeah. So I was just into technology, period. So then combining that with being loving music was just made it even that much better.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. And on top of that, hearing things that I couldn't quite accomplish or I couldn't afford. You know, the thing is that I didn't have access to a big 24-track studio, but I could do some of the same stuff using technology, using a 4-track and a sequencer that was like, you know, $1,500 or $1,000. I could accomplish what people could accomplish with a $100,000 24-track tape reel-to-reel machine.
Right.
So that was financial.
Yeah. the birth of innovation.
That's right.
Sure.
Necessity.
Yeah. So what was the first musical project that you got compensated for? Like when you were like, I'm pro.
I did a song for Kyrie of this group called The Boys, and I got paid $500, and I got that check in a frame somewhere. Yeah. I think it's at my mom's house, but that was the first one.
And that was like a beat. Or,
I made a beat for one of his. He was working on a song or a group or something. He paid me to produce this rap group, and the rap group was terrible, but but it was my first thing, and it was it was a miracle for me. He was dope though. Kyrie was really really dope, and he was a teenage like star, like singer, producer, executive. I don't know where he is. I would love to reconnect with him, man. But that was an important moment for me.
Kyrie, if you're out there, man, we're looking for you.
That's right.
There you go. So when was that? That was like
91.
91. Is that in high school? After high school?
No, that was in college.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it was. I also won a St. Ides commercial contest when I think this was like 89 or 90 when I was in college. And I scratched S. So, but then they ended up, I don't know if they stole my ID. I don't want to say they did, but somebody else used a similar.
They did not steal. We're inspired.
Maybe they did, or they just, we may have just been both inspired by the same things.
By the error and everything.
Yeah. But I definitely won that St. Ides commercial contest.
That's what's up.
In college. So
when did, I guess, you start taking music seriously? Like, this is what I do to make a living.
Not until I did the In Living Color theme song, really.
So when was that?
My first placement on an actual label was before the Living Color. So I got a publishing deal in I think it was like 92.
Okay, so this was like right out of college-ish.
Yeah. I was like sophomore or something in college with my a production team called Mad Dookie Productions.
Mad Dookie Productions. That's real 90s.
Yeah. And we had 90s, a lot of 90s, New Jack Swing, all kind of stuff. My homie Tremaine Ankrum on the basketball team, because I walked on the team.
Was that USC?
I didn't get a scholarship to play basketball. I got an academic scholarship.
Because he was valedictorian?
Because I was high school valedictorian.
This guy.
And straight A student. So then when I got there, I walked on the team because I could play. And I was very athletic. I was also like the city long jump champ, state, one of the top 3 state triple jump, and the state best decathlon in the state of Oregon.
Alien.
So yeah, I was doing some things, But my homeboy Tremaine Ankrum on the team introduced me to Leia Reese. He said, like, my girl, she got a keyboard. You need to hook up with her. Y'all could do some music together. And so we hooked up. She had a really fresh keyboard. Like, I don't even know if it was like a Roland or Triton. I don't know what it was. And her boyfriend was Modo. And she said, hey, we should make our music together. His best friend was AMG from Bitch Better Have My Money.
Okay.
And this, but before that song came out, and his AMG's best friend was DJ Quick. So we started all like making music, and he would take me up to AMG to the studio, and then Quick would be there, and then I went over to Quick's house a bunch of times, and to his manager's house, actually, Greedy Greg, and saw like Quick making music and heard what he was working on. I was like, oh, this dude is about to be a star. So I was just kind of, that's how I got into that mix. And one of the other people in that kind of circle was DJ Trey Ski, who was, and I don't even know why I'm telling this story.
This is context.
Context. But he was cool with Modo, cool with Papa LQ, and he said, oh, let's make some beats together. He and I were making beats together, and that's where I did the thing with Kyrie and the boys, because they all lived in Carson. And then Trey Ski was also the DJ for In Living Color, and he said, oh, they need a remix for the song for In Living Color, and like, you want to do it with me? And that's how I got connected for The Living Color. So
we were going somewhere. That's the important part of the story.
Yeah, that's how. So then. Oh, but I left out. Modo and I also produced a demo for this artist named Volume 10 and got him a deal at Immortal Records with this cat. Adrian Miller was the A&R. And his big single was Pistol Grip Pump. I don't know if you heard that song before. But Pistol Grip Pump on my lap at all time. Pistol Grip Pump on my lap at all time. You got to...
I'm top in.
Yeah, that's the joint. So it was a big hit. I had the second single, and I had the B-side of a Pistol Grip Pump, a song called Where's the Sniper. So anyway, that was my first placement on a record. The production, true, we broke up. We're cool with it. We're cool now, but you know, when you're young, sometimes
things happen.
You don't understand how to work through disagreements and stuff. But then when I got the Living Color, it was real. Yeah. Like the Volume 10, I probably got $2,500 or something. But I got some.
You did okay.
I did. I got some more money for that Living Color, and I used that to help buy a house. Not that I just cashed out a house or nothing like that, but it was part of the down payment. And I built a studio at that house, and then all of the records that I did, most of the records that I did in my career, I did at that house. And it was like when cats would come to LA, they would come over to my house. We're talking about E-40, Akon, T-Pain. I would throw parties at the house. We used to throw a party like every month. Folks like Dr. Dre came by, the Dog Pound, Snoop. I mean, it was like...
He was real West Coast, huh?
It was real West Coast. It was
That's
real
dope,
West Coast.
Man.
And it was good. It was good. I built 2 studios at the house, made a lot of money off of the house itself, like from appreciation over time. And just having it be a home base where I could work was like, great. It was like one of my best investments ever.
Right on. So for those of y'all telling them kids that art don't pay, man, that's cap. Living proof right here.
Yeah, it's possible if you combine it with business strategy, and of course dedication.
That part. Yeah. I want to tap in. You know, we're doing it for the Bay. East Bay specifically. What was that relationship like with E-40? How did that come about?
So I had a group called Three Ways, and there was a bidding war between all of these groups to sign our. We were kind of like the Dog Pound, the style of music, and it was hot at that time. And one of the like Russell Simmons came and met with me. Man. Leor Cohen met with me. QD3. there were like 10 labels that wanted to sign me. Tommy Boy, Jive, Def Jam, Atlantic. So this guy named Jeff Finster was at Jive and wanted to sign Three Ways. And so he's like, well, how can I get an edge in signing this group? Well, I'm going to give him some production work and, start to get them paid, let them know if you come to Jive, you could, work with all these dope artists. So first one he gave me was Pay Styles, which was a remix of a song called Pay Styles with Too Short. So I did that remix. And then the next record they gave me was Sprinkle Me. Said, do a remix to this one. What? So I did the remix to Sprinkle Me. So if you find the cassette tape or the vinyl and look on the backside, my name is on there. I did that. I did the remix.
That's dope.
And they flew me up to meet E-40 at the Gold party because, when the record went gold. And so we connected. We started working. And I did half of the Element of Surprise at my house. So 40 would come over to the house, and then the whole clique, 40, Sugar T, D-Shot, Be Legit, they would all be over there like in the studio, and we would just be working. Yeah, I did like seven records on that album. I did a bunch of records on Charlie Hustle, which Charlie Hustle. So one of the records that I did, 40 calls me and is like, hey, Hot Boys are in town, man. You got something? I want to put something together for them for their let's do a record. I want to do a record with the Hot Boys. I'll be over there. So Hot Boys, if y'all don't know, is Lil Wayne, BG, Juvenile, Baby. Yeah. So all of these cats are over at my house, and we record. They pull the tour bus up on the street outside. What? And so we record, and the song is called "Look at Me." Go listen to that song. "Look at Me" is we sampled Everlasting Bass. The hook is "Look at me. I'm like that. I'm like that." So basically, this song was one of the singles off of Charlie Hustle, Blueprint of a Self-Made Millionaire, which is Kendrick Lamar's favorite album. And so when he made the Drake song Like That, he remade that record, including the hook that we wrote. Yeah. So that was
this is walking history right here, man.
Yeah, that was the birth of that whole record, and a lot of that sound kind of is based upon my production on that record.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I'm learning stuff today too, y'all. This is
go check it out, man.
Shout out to Bosko.
History.
Shoot. So we talked a little bit about background. What are some things that you got going on right now that has you most excited? I'm
really excited about technology right now. The state of Afro AI and is, I'm very passionate about helping artists in general, but also about them using technology and the state of the tools that you can. What you can create with AI has made the cost of building anything come down completely. Yeah. Like information is so much cheaper and creation is so much cheaper. That's video, that's audio creation, things you can create with prompting. That's building your own software using software tools. I built software in the past, but now it's so much easier and faster. Anytime you have a question about a particular issue, the problem that you're having with what you're building, you can just ask, Claude or ChatGPT or DeepSeek, or it can be built into the IDE, the platform that you're programming and coding. People who don't have experience in coding can build software now. Yeah. So I'm excited right now to just take these ideas that I have in my head and that other people bring to me and turn them into real products. Right on. Yeah, it's a great time as far from a technology standpoint.
Yeah. Definitely a great time for creatives and just, everyday folks. Yeah. If you could not endorse, but recommend a couple AI tools that you think everybody should know about, specifically your creatives.
For creatives, So there's all of the kind of like top line tools. Like if you want to make images, you can use Midjourney. If you want to do video, you can use Runway. If you want to do avatars, you can use HeyGen. If you want to code, you can use Replit or you can use Cursor. If you want to, you know, write content, obviously ChatGPT, but also DeepSeek and Claude are great for writing content. You can learn so much just by searching online and videos, watching videos of all of the new products. If you want to create music and beats, you can use Suno, you can use Udio. So those are like the top line consumer products. Mm-hmm. But what I want people to know is that all of those products, even the biggest companies, are building their products on top of open source software. Mm-hmm. So you can get free versions of almost everything that I just told you. From Hugging Face, you can run it local. If they have some kind of restriction on a particular software, like maybe you can't use your own voice or you can only use a certain amount of time, there's a version that it'll take a little bit of work to get it to run on your computer. Mm-hmm. But you may be able to run it online using like Colab or other hosts to host your model. But basically, all of the AI software has a version that may even be more advanced than the consumer version that you can host and use yourself for free. Yeah. And so I think now is the time for artists, and I've seen artists do this. Even a year ago, I was working with my co-founder, Miles Dotson. Mm-hmm. His good friend, Wolf, is a really dope producer and artist. He was making records using the voice cloning, changing software. He was going online, pulling down all of these different artists' voices or unique voices off of, I can't remember the name, but like a voice file is .gg, and you can download it into this open source software and do all the transformations on your laptop. Yeah. And the fact that he was using open source software and file sharing, it blew my mind. I think, again, now is the time for artists to dig beneath the surface of the consumer apps and look at what's available kind of on the underground. And that's like, maybe it's like the new digging in the crates or whatever.
Yeah. My sister was just talking to me about something. Maybe you can attest to this too. Yeah. She was talking about the original mixtapes. Yeah. Where you guys just like stuff tissue paper into a tape and tape the top to be able to like hijack sound or something like that. That might have been some ghetto stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that, I mean, we would do with tapes. I mean, sometimes if they broke and you had to fix it, then you have to unscrew unscrew the tape and pull the tape out, and then take a piece of tape and put two pieces of tape of the audio tape together with a piece of not masking tape, but Scotch tape, and then get some scissors and cut on the side so you can fit back in. So you would have to fix tapes like that. Some people, I think, actually mixed with tape to tape. I didn't really do that myself because I was using turntables and an audio tape. But yeah.
But the sentiment remains that you got to kind of, like you said, put on that engineering hat and not be afraid to get your hands dirty and figure out what technology can do when it comes to the art.
That's what hip hop is about.
That part.
Hip hop is, using turntables in ways they were not designed. Right. And I know, I've seen, like I said, with Wolf and so many other producers, they're taking these tools and using them in new ways and getting stuff that's like it wasn't planned that it was going to be a music tool, and taking it apart, reverse engineering it. Sharing it with, getting together with homies and like, oh, you're using it this way, I'm using it this way, maybe we can do it together. So this is the time for that, like being creative in how we're using the tools and not being like at the mercy of all of the big tech companies.
Right, because they're going to Give you a subscription model for everything.
Exactly. Everything got a subscription model,
Man.
even like medicine.
Right. They want to keep you coming back.
Yeah, we don't want to cure this disease. We just want to keep you coming back, paying for
They're
this.
gonna be in trouble when they start making you subscribe to like toilet paper and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they want everything.
Right.
But okay, I like that. Let's turn our gaze towards the future.
Yeah.
What is your version of a brighter future? What does that mean to you?
Man, the idea, the technology, the pace of technology is really fun. It's like my imagination is going wild. A lot of the things that I imagined and I saw in science fiction as a kid are possible now.
Right.
And the idea that we can, instead of doing certain kinds of like manual labor, repetitive labor, that can be done by robots, by machines, by software, it can be an incredibly liberating technology for us, so that we don't have to do those things. There are issues with energy, access to knowledge. They can be solved. Like, we can actually have almost like limitless free energy. Definitely almost limitless free intelligence, free access to information. And so for me, the future that I want to see is where we have access to those things, the amount of work that people do. Like, instead of using tools to be quote unquote more productive, I want us to use these tools to spend less time working. Like, how do we go from a 40-hour work week to a 30-hour work week to a 20-hour work week, to a 10-hour work week, and have the same or a better standard of living, better health care. And all of this is possible with the technology that we're developing if people have the right mindset, the folks that have control, the wealth. If we work together, like, I guess taking it back to how we started, like, instead of being a war on diversity, it should be a collaborative effort to build these technologies that liberate all of us from, exploitation, from the need to spend so much of our time working instead of connecting with each other, and taking care of our family, and creating art and magic and community. That's the future that I am working towards, and encouraging people to build.
I love that. I couldn't have said that better. From a social perspective, what's something that you hope we could find our way to achieve as people?
I think a lot of the root of the problems are economic, but because of all of the competing interests. But my dream is that people can see past that and see that collaboration is the key for us to overcome those kinds of challenges.
100%.
All of the economies and the way that like economy doesn't work without two people trading, and it's not a zero-sum game. And
you're spinning right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if we can realize how important that collaboration is, and that if we work together, we can solve these problems, and focus on just enjoying each other and enjoying life and seeing past the differences, and just think how boring the world would be if it was monochromatic, and there was just no
living color.
No living color, right? We got to be in living color. I will be excited when, like, we're kind of in a pendulum swing, like, it swung in one way towards during the George Floyd protests, and where it was cool to support Black people, and then it's cool to support diversity, and it's not cool right now
Right.
with some. It that's
You
a
know,
it
cool
is
should
cool.
not be the metric, but that's where we're at with it. Yeah.
It shouldn't be, and I think that I'm looking forward to being able to look back on this time and realize how much society has improved by us growing from this moment and realizing that we're better together.
100%. You hit it right on the head for me. I think that, for one, I'm not a math person, right? I'm
Yeah.
more of a language guy, so I always like to dive into like etymology and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, in one of these random searches, I was looking at the word economy, and it actually comes from some old Greek words. I'm not even gonna try it, but it's like oiko, normal, something like that, whatever.
Yeah.
But it really translates to is household management. And I think that's a total like perspective mentality shift, at least for me, when it comes to how we think about what the economy actually is. Like when we hear economy, we usually like default to, oh, it's the money, it's the, you know, the stocks and the whoop de whoop, whatever. But I think about it genuinely more so if we had more of a perspective of economics as how are we managing the resources that we all need to share, that requires collaborative thinking instead of competition. So I 100% agree with that, and I hoping for a lot of the same. Honestly. Yeah. One question I always love to ask is, Bosko, you are now officially president of the universe. Congratulations.
Okay.
What is one thing that you would build or implement, you know, almost as an executive order, but let's assume you have the full support and the resources to pull this off?
President. I make sure all the money spent on good things.
On good things.
Oh man, that's a lot of pressure, man. What am I gonna do with my first
day in office?
First day in office, man. Oh my goodness.
All right, to take a little bit of pressure off the situation, maybe what's something that you wish that everybody had the access to or opportunity for?
I think healthcare is one of the most
good
important.
Place to start.
Yeah. Healthcare is definitely one of the most important things that we need to remove as a risk for families, for people. You know, you shouldn't have to worry that you're going to get sick and then not be able to work and then not be able to pay your bills and then end up homeless.
Right.
That shouldn't even be.
That's like the crazy slippery slope that all Americans are like on the back burner. Not even like registering as fear, but like that's something that you probably just subconsciously think about all the time.
Right. Yeah. And that should not be, like, we have enough resources to make sure that is not a fear that people have. Yeah. And there are countries that have that. A lot of countries that have that have that kind of support system, and they haven't descended into chaos.
They're actually thriving.
Right. Because people don't have to worry about that. They can focus. People who have that fear removed are more free to dream and to take the risk that's required to grow, to advance, to build, because they don't have to worry about to the same level survival. Yeah. So I think that's where I would start. There would be a lot more things that I want to do.
You have a crazy 100 days.
Yeah, I'll have, but my 100 days would be 100 days of joy.
Yeah, not despair, not traumatic headline after traumatic headline.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The country, the energy in the country would be like one of just like elation and optimism, and people would be like excited for, you know, prosperity. That would be a much different place.
Man, that inauguration concert would be crazy.
Yeah, right? I'll be on there with the ElectroSpit.
Like, what's up, man?
Going in.
I would love to see it, man.
California love on the big, at the White House.
I think the people need it. Just move the White House over here, y'all.
Yeah, we'll make California
the capital.
We'll make the Bay Area. Yeah, Oakland.
Oakland specifically.
Oakland will be the capital. of
That's my
United
favorite executive order so far.
That's my second order.
There you go.
Free healthcare. Oakland's the capital.
I'll give you that as a twofer.
All right.
Man, Bosko, this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, man, is there anything you want to make sure people know?
Absolutely, yeah. Make sure, first of all, make sure you go to electrospit.com and get yourself an ElectroSpit.
Get creative.
If you want to get that ElectroSpit sound. Make sure you come to Hiiiwav Fest June 7th. And that is going to be right here at 28th and Telegraph.
Always a good time.
Yes, and if you are a creative, you don't have to be a musician. You just have to be interested in creativity and technology, and have an idea or concept, a project that you think would work for Afro AI that you need help in building and apply to Afro AI. So that's at Hiiiwav, HIIIWAV.org/apply. And check us out, Hiiiwav. Follow us online, and we need we want you to be part of this community so we can help spread information, spread support, and help creatives build new projects, new instruments, new creative tools, new music, new video, new movies, new games, all of that kind of stuff, and just build.
Come tap in with the wave, man. It's one of the best places to be, especially if you're local in the Bay Area.
That's right.
Bosko, before we let you go, any energy you want people to leave with? Any thoughts, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I want you to leave with optimism. I want you to get into your creative zone. I want you to think about a spirit of collaboration, because right now the energy in the media is not that energy, but that doesn't mean that we can't have that energy as a joyful creative people coming together and building and making plans. Like, we need to make plans about what we're building right now. We don't want to be siloed and not share information. We need to collaborate and share resources. I want this to be people to leave with that energy, the energy of collaboration.
Love it. Couldn't have said it better, because that's what they doing. They showed us at the inauguration. They're gonna stand front row and buddy. So you are sorely misinformed if you think that we should not be doing the same.
That's right,
man. And with that, Bosko, thank you again for taking the time.
Yeah, man, my pleasure, man. Good to be here.
Love it. Finding a way.